What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this awesome, big, thick butcher block. So let's get started. So here are the woods that I'm going to use to make my big end grain board. On the far right here we've got this really nice piece of ambrosia maple. You can see all the little ambrosias, and I find that people really like the look of the ambrosia maple, so I like to use that in these big end grain boards. Then over here we have a piece of butternut, a piece of cherry, and then we have a big piece of walnut over here. I'm going to cut all these pieces of wood down to 30 inches long. Got all of them planed down. You see the butternut on top, you got the cherry and the walnut. This one's too wide to go through the planer, so I'll have to cut that one in half first. Now that all of our material is flat, we're going to head over to the table saw and cut it all up into strips that are 2.5 inches wide. Now you just have to rearrange all your pieces, mix them up, and make it kind of look cool. You also want to make sure that every piece of wood is next to a piece of wood that is not the same species. Once you've got all your pieces in the right order, you can go ahead and glue them all together. And guys, while our board is down here drawing, I want to give a huge thank you to Titebond for sending me out some of your products. For as long as I've been woodworking, for 8 or 9 years, I have used Titebond 2. I have never had it fail, I've never had any problems with it, and I just recently switched over to Titebond 3. And what I find really fascinating is that all of the glues that they sell are stronger than the wood itself, so if you tried to break the glue joint, the wood would just break in half before the joint would fail. And like I said, I've made probably almost 1,000 cutting boards in my lifetime, and for a lot of those I used Titebond 2, and for some of the most recent ones I have used Titebond 3, and I haven't had a single one come back because of joints opening up. Titebond is one of the leading manufacturers in the United States for wood glue, so definitely be sure to go and check out their website. I'll leave a link in the description box down below where you can go check them out. Thanks again, Titebond. So on the bandsaw, I virtually cut this thing in half, and that is so I can safely use my table saw to cut this into a bunch of little pieces. If I had not cut it into half, I would be trying to support this entire workpiece while cutting a thin strip off the end, and that is extremely dangerous. Now, if you have a nice crosscut sled, you don't have to do this. So I set my fence on my table saw to 2 3/4 inches, and now we're going to just start chopping up our board. So essentially what I've done is I have chopped up my entire board, I have flipped every piece up, and now is kind of how you get that pattern. So now what we're going to do is flip around every other piece. So this piece will get flipped around, this piece will get flipped around, this piece will get flipped around, and this piece will get flipped around. And now you have that cool pattern in your board. So now we'll go ahead and glue this together. So guys, now that our board is completely dried, we're going to head over to the planer and we're going to flatten it. Now, one quick thing that I want to mention before you run your board through the planer. If you're going to run end grain through the planer, you always want to put a chamfer on the trailing edge of the board. That way, the planer doesn't start taking chunks out of the back. If you don't do this, you're definitely going to get a bunch of chunks flying. You're going to get pieces getting thrown out. So always put a chamfer on the back and that won't happen. You also want to make sure that if you're going to run end grain through the planer, you take extremely light cuts. 1/8 of a turn is all you need. I have gone ahead and set my fence on my table saw to the thickness of our cutting board. I'm going to cut up this piece of walnut into 6 different pieces. And so now I can glue together the borders so that way they are long enough. So last night I let the long sides of the border dry. Today I can go ahead and glue on the ends. Guys, thank you so much for watching this week's video. I think the end grain butcher block came out really good. There's a lot of different woods that make up this board. We got walnut, maple, cherry, butternut, and a couple other ones, and I really like the look of that ambrosia maple. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you go ahead and get subscribed to the channel. I've got a really awesome video coming up next week, and you're definitely not going to want to miss it, so hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. I am going to be putting a mixture of mineral oil and beeswax on this board. Right now all it has is mineral oil, but the beeswax really helps to seal the pores and protect the wood. Definitely be sure to go follow me on Instagram, Sus Custom Creations. The name's on the screen there for you. I post a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and there's a lot more projects on there that don't get put up on my YouTube channel. And lastly, guys, make sure that you go ahead and go check out my website. The link is in the description box down below. It'll be at the very top. I've got products on there, more information about me, and a lot of other stuff you might be interested in, so definitely be sure to go and check out the website. If you like the project, make sure that you go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely be sure to leave those in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys next week.